You're listening to the Profit Connections podcast. Entrepreneurs and franchise owners, you'll want to tune in. If you're looking to create a rock-solid business, sick of being stuck on the plateau, and ready to kick it up more than just a notch, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Sharon Galuzzo, and I believe in unleashing your full potential to create resilient, successful businesses that in turn make significant positive impacts in our world. Welcome to the Profit Connections podcast. Welcome to the Profit Connections podcast. We're here for another fun episode, and I hope that you are ready to hear a lot of wonderful strategies on how to kick your business up more than just a notch. We have an amazing guest today. In our podcast, we have Barbara Hales, MD, also known as the Medical Strategist. She has been on ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox News. She's also been cited in Newsweek and more than 50 radio shows. Dr. Hales coaches physicians and helps promote their practices with podcasts, content marketing, and various other marketing programs. She has online courses, one of which is the Physician's Playbook and Patients on Demand. Thank you so much, Dr. Barbara Hales, for being here today. And I would love it if you would start out by telling us a little bit about you.
Thank you very much for having me on the show. I started out my professional life as a physician in private practice. When I did my training, I went through all of the specialties and the locations. So I saw what practicing medicine was like in emergency rooms, urgent centers, hospitals, big practices. And what I got from that is I wanted to have my own private practice. That way I could spend as much time as I wanted per patient, face-to-face communication, and really get to know them on a personal level instead of the way patients are just, streaming through and being rushed out. So that really wasn't me. I really wanted to get to know my patients on a personal level. Mm-hmm. The thing is, in medicine, they don't teach you how to have a private practice or a practice at all. They don't teach you any business. They only teach you how to take care of patients. Mm-hmm. After that, you're on your own. But you know what? I thought I would rise to the challenge. So I found a spot that I thought would be perfect for my office because it was on a busy street, good visibility. It started out its days as a candy store. And my biggest regret is that they did not leave their inventory. So I made it cozy and comfortable, bought all the equipment, signed up for everything legally, and the day came when I was ready to launch. I opened the doors, and it took me less than 2 minutes to realize I have no patients, none. If I had joined a practice or I had partners, they would have come with patients. But since I was just starting out from scratch, nothing, nada, no one, crickets. And so I realized very, very early on, like the beginning, that I had to market myself because if I didn't, then 3 weeks later, when the bills started streaming in, I would be closing the doors. So unlike most medical practices at that time, I started marketing myself. But the thing is, there were no tricks and strategies on marketing for doctors at that time. Mm-hmm. And there were no coaches or mentors to show you how to market as a physician. It just didn't exist. So I had to create the systems myself. Quite frankly, not all of them succeeded. But enough did, so that over the course of time, I was able to create my own systems. And so I went from no patients to over 10,000 active patients by the time I was done.
Wow.
I don't mind telling you that with the first paying patient that walked in, relief washed all over me, knowing that I might make it.
Yeah, that first one. That's awesome. Yeah.
So what I felt was, you know what? When I was finished and noticed that doctors really still were not marketing themselves, as many are still not, I felt that since I had the strategy, that why not help my fellow colleagues out, reach them in through the depths of despair? Because what most people do not realize is that doctors are going bankrupt every day in private practice. They have the perception that doctors are doing so well financially, but every day you hear about soaring expenses and reimbursements declining each day. I mean, just recently Medicare said, even though you are no longer working on a profit margin, we're going to decrease the reimbursements 2%. Now, 2%, when there's practically no room for error, it is a lot.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
what is happening is that, which has been happening for a while now, is that doctors are either selling their practice to hospitals and then just working for them for 2-3 years, or they're saying, you know what, I did not plan on retiring so early, but enough is enough, and turning the key in the lock and walking away.
Wow.
Now, my mission is to help doctors in private practice so that 10 to 12 years from now, there still is private practice as an option for patients to go to, because I could see the writing on the wall where that might disappear in the landscape of medicine, so that you would only be able to see a doctor in a hospital, a large group like Kaiser Permanente, emergency room or urgent center, and that would be it. And if you wanted to see private practice, unless you went to someone who was concierge where you're paying for it, but the way private practice exists now just would not be an option for you. And if I could thwart the progression of that, I really wanted to give it my all.
That is amazing. And so much information that you just shared, I was not fully aware. I some of it, I was like, oh yeah, this sounds familiar and this sounds familiar. And I wasn't aware of everything that you shared. So that was really good information. And so talk a little bit about marketing for doctors, and if you can expand it a little bit for other professionals that are that struggle with the ability to market. Like, I don't know if you can speak to financial advisors. They have a lot of restrictions on what they can do. Anybody in the financial sector, whenever you're a veterinarian, that kind of thing, when you come out of school, they don't, like you said, tell you how to run the business. So what do you have to think about when you're thinking about marketing in these more restrictive sort of industries?
There are slight differences between businesses that are just brick and mortar versus ones that are just online and ones that are hybrid. Now, regardless of the business that you're in, every business has certain restrictions or guidelines that they have to work within. For people in the health profession, it is HIPAA. For people who are pharmaceutical or vitamin supplements, it's going to be the FDA. For the financial business, they have their own set of restrictions. We all have restrictions that we have to work within. Right. But by the same token, there are certain similarities that overlap. We're all dealing with people. Our clients and our customers are all people. Right. And as such, they want to be heard. They want to be seen. They want their fears and their interests to be validated.
Right.
It is good if you sat down and you thought, who is it that I'm serving? what is it that they need, what they want, what the problems they are struggling with, and how does your service or products fill that need to provide the solutions to what they need and what they're struggling with. Once you're able to answer that, you get more clarity in how you're going to move forward.
Speak a little bit about people being in their businesses and thinking about their customers from the perspective of the business owner, of the doctor, as here's what I do and here's what I'm going to, from your perspective, as opposed to what perspective should they be looking for and what kinds of questions should they be asking themselves?
Well, the first thing, which is really a shock, is that even today, in today's day and age, there are doctors that don't have websites. You said yourself like, oh my God, how could that possibly be? But it is, in fact, the case. They rely on their online presence using Yelp or using insurance participation. But, they have no control over the content that way.
Right.
And if an insurance company drops them as as you being a provider, overnight, your online presence is gone.
Yeah, because you don't own it, right?
Right. So this is something that you really need to deal with. If you are first starting out, whether it's business, whether it's medicine, and you're just trying to promote a product or service, you could, while you're waiting to have your website created, you could have just like a landing page. The landing page simply has what it is you're trying to promote and the information that you want whoever's interested in it to let you know. So they're going to give you their name, their email, and maybe their telephone number, but you don't even need that. Just the name and their email. And then you could add it to your email database.
So what you're saying is even if you don't have a website or you're not ready to have a website, create a page where you can send people to give you their contact information so then you can follow up with them.
Absolutely. The email database is the most valuable asset that your business is going to have. Because
are you telling me that email is not dead?
Email is not dead. It's alive and well.
And a very valuable resource. I think people are used to being on their phones and doing things through social media. And again, like you said before, if you're relying on Yelp, you don't own anything in social media either. So it's really important to have control over the information. And a simple way to do that is a landing page.
Absolutely. Once you get your website up and running, there are about 5 pages with tabs that you need, including an about page with a good photograph looking forward, not one with your kids or your dog or looking down. It should be so that when they look at it, they're looking into your eyes. And then you're talking a little bit about yourself. But what I recommend, in addition to having you on the about page, is everyone that works in that office to have their own little section on the about page. So when someone comes to your office that's never been there before, they know, oh, that's Sally from the front desk. I recognize her. There's Richard. He's going to be the billing guy, and I'm going to see him after and talk about billing. So they have some familiarity in a place that they haven't been before. It gives them a little bit more comfort.
Yes, I love that you said that, because what business owners need to do is think about it from the perspective of the client, the patient. You want them to come into the office feeling comfortable and like they belong there. So by knowing the faces and seeing the faces before they walk in the door, it gives an unspoken level of comfort and trust even before you walk in the door.
Absolutely. What most people don't realize, but they're starting to get the idea, is that studies have shown that 8 out of 10 people will go online to check out the the health professional or, whatever business it is prior to going. And if you have no online presence, you know what? You don't exist.
Yep, 100%. We are living in an Amazon world. Everyone goes to find it and then goes to look for reviews. And if they cannot find you when they're looking for you, you're absolutely right. You don't exist.
Now, I'm glad that you brought up reviews and ranking, because that really was segueing into the next thing I was going to say. And that is, you really need to be mindful of having reviews and rankings. When I go to a manicurist and I have my nails done, it's less than 10 minutes after I get home that I get a text message saying, how was your service? And just color in the number of stars and, say something else if you'd like to and hit submit. It takes all of 2 minutes. And yet doctors never do that.
Yeah. And creating that really simple systems is what you're telling me is that the manicurist has a system in place where all they have to do is push a button and it's already automated that comes out to you, gives them feedback that they can then use to promote their business. And it is as simple as setting up a system.
Exactly. And so, you could have, something as simple as a piece of paper with a QR code at the front desk when they're checking out. And you just say, if you were happy with the service, just scan the QR code, 1, 2, 3, and you ask them to do it while they are still in the office. Once they leave, it's
Yes, hallelujah.
Once they leave the office, even if they say they will, it's a little sketchy as to whether that will actually ever happen.
Because life happens. They walk out of the office and life happens. If you can capture it while they are there standing in front of you, then you crossed it off their list right away. They don't have to think about it. They had a great visit. They like you. They want other people to know about you. And it's a win-win-win for everyone.
Exactly. Now, if you are unfortunate enough to get a bad review, you know what? That's not so bad. It may sound bad, but that's not. It's actually a gift.
It is.
Because if there is something so wrong in your office that somebody is leaving unhappy, you know what? They took the time to tell you about it. You should appreciate that, because you know what it's saying? This is the problem and I could change it.
Right. And I care enough to tell you, because how many people will walk out of a business with a bad experience and never say anything to you, yet they're going to tell everyone they know. So
Exactly.
Better that they tell you so you can take steps to improve it, to fix the problem, to resolve it. And then whenever you resolve it, then they're going to like you even more.
Exactly.
So it's absolutely 100% a gift when someone gives you negative feedback, so that you can then take steps to correct it.
Right. I've looked at many reviews, in my time. And the interesting thing is that it's rarely about the professional, him or herself. It's the fact that the front desk person was rude to them, or they had to wait too long, or they thought that the furniture was old and should be changed. A lot of it really has nothing to do with, the professional being a professional. So, it's important for that person to stand back and say, listen, I'm not going to be hurt or negate, what is said. I'm going to look at it with an objective eye, with the view of, if it's bad, let's take a look at it and correct it.
Yeah. And also sometimes whenever somebody gives you a bad review, there's an opportunity to not just fix the situation, could be fix that relationship you have with your client. We had a client one time who came in. I talked to him on the phone. He came in. He was really happy when he left. And then he left this terrible Yelp review. And so I reached out to him and I was like, hey, how can I help you with this? And what he had thought was that it was a bait and switch situation. I told him one thing on the phone, but when he got there, another thing occurred. Well, it turned out that the information he gave me on the phone was not actually what he needed done. So yes, there was a change, but the change was in communication. So when I explained that to him and said, well, you brought us this and that's the price for this, but I gave you the price for what you asked for on the phone, but what you brought us was not that price, and explained it to him. And then he was like, oh, okay. So it was a communication issue that we've resolved right away. He went back out and fixed that Yelp review. So it just is so, it's so valuable to have that feedback.
Absolutely. And so many times you're right. It just is communication.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Excuse me.
Oh, no worries.
So, the thing that I would recommend, though, is going back online because other people are looking at it, to address it by saying, thank you for submitting this. After a careful review, we've made some changes to correct the problem. But if anything else were to occur, and then you could say, if there's any way that I could additionally help you, let me know. But beyond that, take it offline. Yeah. You do not have to keep the communication online. Take it offline. But put the first thing online so people know that you didn't just ignore it.
100% right. Yeah. Address it immediately online so everyone can see that you're responding, because so many times businesses will not respond, and then people will take that non-response as affirmation.
Exactly.
Yeah, really important. Awesome. Well, do you have one more sweet nugget for us to kick up our business a notch?
Well, are we done? Because I've got several.
Well, we have only a few minutes left. Everyone, we are at Potapalooza, and our windows for these conversations are really short. Well, and I want to get as much out of Dr. Barbara Hales, MD, as I possibly can, because the medical strategist is here on our stage. So keep going. We got a few more minutes.
Okay, well, I'll give you two of them. And the first one is that most people say to save yourself time to figure out where your clients or customers are in social media and just spend your time there.
Ding, 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 ding.
I say that's a myth. And the reason why is because every single social media platform allows you to put your profile on their site. Right. So that the purpose of which is to drive people from there back to your website.
I hear what you're saying.
So you don't have to spend any time there, but having a stellar website, so when they search a keyword that represents you, you're going to pop up.
Yes. And people are searching social media sites as if they are a Google or a Bing. So exactly. That is actually, that I take back my ding, ding, ding. You are absolutely right. Having at least the information available on all the sites is powerful. Yeah, love that.
Exactly. And the last thing that I want to talk about, which most people really don't think about at all, is bundling or packages. The insurance companies think about bundling, but people don't. Let me give you an example. Let's say you are a florist. Well, how about getting together with a limo company and a restaurant and making a package for holidays like Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, so that if they use the three of them together, they get a coupon discount for each one as a triad. Now, a lot of husbands are thinking, I want to do something special for my special someone for the holiday, but I have no clue what to do. Well, here's this package, and it is helping to promote all three businesses. So, that's a great thing. For medicine, I found that networking with complementary services helped me throughout my entire professional office life. I practiced OBGYN, and I entered into a business relationship with a radiologist. All of my gynecology patients that I found pathology with were going to need a sonogram or an X-ray. Why not send them all to him?
Nice.
On the other hand, if he was doing an X-ray or sonogram and he found that someone had a gynecological problem, he would send them to me. So both of us profited.
I love that. And bundling is important because not only are you sharing the product, so you're providing more to your clients, you're also sharing your own lists. So you're tripling the amount of people that you can reach because you're all reaching different people. I love that. I love that idea of bundling. And Dr. Barbara, I did neglect to ask before you came on, do you have a gift for our listeners?
I do, as a matter of fact.
Yay. Can you share that with us?
Yes, for your listeners, they may have a 30-minute free consultation with me and business assessment. All they need to do is go into the medicalstrategist.com/contact. Pick your day and time and what you're struggling with, and we'll touch bases and discuss your needs.
Awesome. Thank you. That is a very generous gift. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that information in and you are going to be able to find it in the profitconnectors.club section of our websites. We are going to have all of that. All of our gifts are going to be there. Dr. Barbara's is going to be there. Please reach out to her. She has a lot of brilliance. And I really appreciate all of the nuggets that she shared with us today, because even if you do just one of these, you are going to kick your business up a notch. Thank you so much, Barbara, for being here. And thank you, everyone, for listening to the Profit Connections podcast. Hey, Profit Connectors, that's it for another Profit Connections podcast. If you're ready to make moves and connections that take your business to the next level and get your gifts and resources, head over to the website profitconnectors.club. That's profitconnectors.club and get your goodies right now.